All of these, if you board members get the draft.
But there's one more.
Amber, since
We're just around them in there.
We're gonna put that one over there for.
I got you.
All these meetings. I didn't realize there was an extra. You wanted
Wait
to.
up.
Oh, the crack.
It is. They, that, sinister then.
Yeah, you know, these no masks.
Suppose there's one more.
So that's,
Oh,
Such a wild, right? Just think.
that's what you were talking about before you got like bringing you like them.
Like, oh, he's gone.
I have, I mean, I read that it was good in the morning. And walking across the- I don't really, it doesn't make sense.
Oh, you're, I know. Yeah. That's a separate thing. I'm talking about where the,
Yeah.
And all that stuff. Yeah, she was that whole like tree area there. Radically redesigned it.
I haven't read much.
I don't.
Yeah. that was-
I just like, I just heard about it. It just didn't seem right, like, like, is it dark outside?
Yeah.
It was like 6:08, it was like 6:38 or something. But was he up all night? Was he going, like, workout?
It's not, that's about the only thing they sell, let out.
I should look it up.
They're holding that all that information up.
Right.
I mean, I'm trying to find. They're all. Big enough.
Thank you. It's not a death, it's like dodge out of the, you know, like it just didn't.
You want to go ahead?
Yeah, I'm sorry, baby.
Tommy, you want to go ahead?
I'm good.
Oh.
Oh, it's over there. It's.
With the gavel.
There.
Thank you.
Yeah, see if you can get it open.
I'd like to bring the April meeting of the State Columbus Grants Commission to order. Do we have any preliminary business, Mr. Reese?
Yes, we do have a few things. First, I'd like to introduce Stephen Smedley. He's our newest planner for the city of Columbus. I believe staff and grass commission board is up to us. I was going to introduce our newest grass commissioner, but she's not here, so we'll save that for next month. Preliminary business matter, there was a case from last year, GC 19-09 for Indus Hotels. They were approved for grass commission variance. Currently, they have a request to extend their commission order. Commission order is only good for a year, what the applicant is saying. So,
Sir, I need to swear you in. Swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
Repeat your name for the record.
David Cunningham. David Cunningham.
And how you're affiliated to this case.
I am the Director of Construction for Indus Hotels.
Thank you. And your request.
We are looking for a year extension on our graphics permit. Essentially, we were hoping to start construction in the next couple of months, but with fluctuating costs and everything else, we're still evaluating that. So an extension would allow us to evaluate our costs and extend our start date.
Can you identify where this was, Mr. Reese?
I believe this is off Morse Road.
No, this is off of Broad Street, East Broad and Outer Belt.
Okay.
Can you remind us just generally the nature of the project and then,
It is a hotel, new built hotel.
and the graphics?
Monument sign in front of the hotel and then signage on the hotel itself.
So it was approved and we're just extending the time period in which you have to actually construct it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do I need to make a motion?
Yes, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to grant the applicant's request for an extension.
Is there a second?
I'd like to second one.
All in favor? I don't need to vote this, do I? All in favor, you sign by. Opposed? The ayes have it. You have it granted, Mr. Sir.
Thank you.
I'll send you a revised commission order tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
Hey, Les, could you turn your mic on for me?
It is, now I'm gonna have to speak up. I'm not taking this off.
I couldn't hear you at all.
Sorry. Okay, anything else, Mr. Bruce?
That's it. We can move to the regular meeting.
Okay. First case is PC 21-049,
Actually, here's our news question.
6,000 Sawmill Road. Would the applicant please come forward?
Believe you just want to have a seat right over there.
Sir, short, I'll hold you enough to do something. Would you repeat your name for the record and your affiliation to this case?
Jeffrey Immel, representative for Target Corporation.
Thank you, sir. So, Mr. Dickens, would you bring- Okay.
All right, the first case, 6,000 Sawmill Road. 6,000 Sawmill Road is located in the northeast corner of Sawmill Road in the Public Parkway. Site is on CPD Commercial Plan Development District. The 12.33 acre site built with a Target department store and associated parking. There are currently about 6 drive-up stalls, 1 beacon sign, and a number of temporary signs to provide directions to the stalls. Surrounding uses include retail and a restaurant to the west, retail, a neighborhood shopping center, and a motel to the north, condominiums to the east, and offices, a car wash, and a gas station to the south. The applicant proposes to remove the existing drive-up stalls, you can see here, the beacon sign, the temporary signs, and to convert parking spaces to drive-up stalls in a different location. The applicant would install 2 new 12-foot tall beacon signs, pictured here, and 12 new permanent 6-foot tall double-sided stanchion signs. A graph plan is required to allow 1 or more off-premises ground signs to provide directions to parking facilities within a commercial use, and that is what the applicant is planning. The Northwest plan does not address a specific matter of wayfinding within a parking lot, so therefore the planning division has no comments, and the division of traffic management has no comments. The Northwest Civic Association recommends approval. City staff can recommend approval as the graphs plan as the proposed signage is necessary for identification and wayfinding. We're not asking for any conditions.
Okay, thank you. Gentlemen, would you present your case, please?
Sorry, you said
Would you present your case, please?
I think I've just said it all there. This is part of Target's drive-up program, which is a service they offer. You can order groceries and other items online or through an app and then go to the store and pick up. I think for this particular project, there's precedent here about, I think it was last October, we proposed a similar, nearly identical improvement to the Target at Polaris. And that was GC 21-032. And the only difference between this and that proposal was the color of the beacon signs and the stanchion signs. The color chosen here was to match the building as part of the CPD text for this area. CPD text Z93-096.
The CPD specifically called out certain colors that sign structure supports could be. They're black, brown, and silver. So the original proposal was for red support signs, but the applicant has agreed to go with brown to meet the CPD text. They'd otherwise have to rezone from CPD to CPD.
Okay.
Are there any questions? Do I have a motion?
We don't need a motion because it's not a
This is
variance.
not a,
It's just a graphics plan.
oh, this is a plan, I'm sorry. Thank you. Can we, put this, there's no conditions?
No condition.
Okay. Still in this, as proposed?
Mr. Bender,
Yes.
Mr. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Cooperman,
Yes.
Mr. Hoy,
Yes.
Ms. Augenstein,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes, and it's approved. Thank you, Mr. Bill.
Thank you.
You need both of these things?
Yes.
Our next case is 5500 Bilberry Lane, DC 21-055, with the applicant please come forward. Very swear to uphold truth and nothing but the truth on the ground.
I do.
Would you repeat your name for the record and your affiliation to this case?
Matthew Lynn, sales rep with Kessler Sign Company,
Would you mind spelling your last name?
OYNN.
Mr. Bruce?
Yes. Okay, 5500 Bilberry Lane, located at the intersection of Bilberry Lane and Warner Road. It's a condominium complex zoned in the LAR 12 Limited Apartment Residential District. The site is built as a multi-unit residential development, an existing ground sign at the entrance of the site. See picture. Surrounding uses are single and multi-unit residential developments. The applicant proposes replacing the existing residential complex sign and is requesting variances to increase the allowed graphic area of the residential complex sign from 64 square feet to 91.56 square feet. And due to a right-of-way taking, a variance to reduce the setback from 15 feet to 0 feet. Planning has no comment on this proposal. The record for black of the report plan does not address signage. Initially, the Division of Traffic Management was not in favor of the proposed location. If you look at the site plan on the PowerPoint, this is Bilberry Lane where the cursor is. The existing sign and replaced sign would go in right where the cursor is. As you can see from this picture, this one, there's a shared use path that comes through here right at the intersection. Therefore, the Division of Traffic Management felt the increased size and the setback, reduced setback, caused a safety hazard due to division clearance. And I've asked the applicants to shift it 34 feet to the east, I guess it would be west of Bilberry Lane, the end of Bilberry Lane. So the variants are still being requested to increase the area, the graphic area. And they're also being requested to reduce the setback. The staff is now recommending approval, because as I say, the staff recommended approval as the applicant has agreed to move the sign 34 feet west of Bilberry Lane as depicted on the site plan. We'd like to make that a condition. I do want to also add that the Northland Community Council rep couldn't be here. They recommended conditional approval of this request, that the design of the replacement sign be modified such that neither face of the sign will be lighted internally or externally, and I believe the applicant agreed with that. So we do have two conditions, that the site plan will be stamped and that they will not be lit internally or externally.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Do you have anything else to add?
No. Pretty much explained everything. Basically, said we're willing to move the sign 34 feet away from Bilberry Lane and also allow the sign not to be illuminated as per the Northland Community Commission.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions?
Can you explain the hardship that you have or why you need this sign?
This is kind of an upgrade to their signage package that you're also looking to possibly do at another time throughout the area of the complex. This is the first one that they're looking to do to get this done. As you can kind of see the structure of it, the entire area of it, with how it's structured, kind of makes where the hardship or the sizing comes in. There's kind of negative space in between it that is what's bringing us above the 90 or the 64 square feet. So that's kind of where we went with the Northland Area Commission, was trying to allow them to understand where we were as far as the negative space in between that you can kind of see through. And obviously they did not want it illuminated also.
So I understand that you would regard that negative space as sort of a mitigating factor for the area of the sign, but I guess back to that question, I'm just trying to understand what exactly is the hardship that leads you to seek a larger sign face to begin with? Is there some particular attribute of this property that makes the previous design insufficient?
The one that's there now is currently higher off of the ground. You can see how the space below it is not part of the structure itself as the oval. This one doesn't hang in the air, so that's where we're trying to gain the size of the sign up higher to be seen from the road.
Okay, so the purpose of this is to make it higher?
More visible to the road? Is it hard to see with the location and size as it currently is?
Yes, so you can kind of see where the walkway is at the end of the A. It does sit further back from where the tree line is currently. So you feel the larger that it is when you're coming from what would be the west, I believe. There is tree line there that's going to block a little bit of the visibility.
Other questions?
I guess I would like to see a little bit more specificity on why you think there would be a visibility problem. It's obviously always true that a larger sign would be more visible, but I don't understand why this property presents any particularly distinctive attributes that make it possible to continue with the previous style sign. Missing something?
So they're just looking to upgrade your sign.
So, Mr. Perry, are you looking at the setback is okay, but the sign size increase is not?
That's my thought, is that it seems like what I'm hearing is that the sign size increases, we want a larger sign. Fair enough, I understand the business advantage of that. I don't understand why that constitutes a hardship. The setback seems to be a result of the right of way taking, that I understand.
I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
Is your square footage based on the full, height times width? Because you have a lot of, like where that A is, abstract A is like, not graphic related. If you were to really square out the graphics, including the gold older community part, not sure what that square footage would be.
Correct. And that's what we kind of talked about with the Northland Commission. The whole, so if you took basically a square from where the leading edge of the A starts all the way around it, that is what makes up the 91 square feet.
Well, like our fellow commissioners are saying, is we need to establish what is the hardship. And the design you made might be good. Somehow your words, you gotta say like, hey, this is really, well, I don't know what the math is. But
So
if you discounted that abstract A, what would the square footage be?
right, is it closer to the 64 it was originally? Do you have any idea?
I'd have to get that calculated through the.
We could extend, maybe look at it next month so that you can come up with these answers to that as far as the hardship. Just put this on hold until next month and really nail that down so that we have some basis to understand what our fellow commissioners are saying on that as far as the hardship.
Appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask, did I hear that your staff was going to recommend it?
We're recommending approval, yes.
That's why.
Why
What was the recommendation? Why did you agree?
In the planning comment, they didn't have a proposal, or I'm sorry, they didn't have, typically we defer to either the area plan or to if there's a hard area and a vision clearance issue. The Department of Traffic Management said initially, sign right here, did propose a vision clearance issue, but by moving it here, there wasn't one. Then we felt the difference in the square footage was negligible, as far as 64 feet to 90 feet.
I also think that the size that, when you consider that the area that is absent because of the A is negligible, but we don't have any specifics to say that's the case.
So I think it would be very helpful if we could have numbers on what's missing in that cutout in terms of the area.
Would you rather table it, or do you want to have it still on it?
Well, we do on that. 56 inches is about 4.5 feet. 90 inches is roughly. So a rough math of just here to here would be 34.5 square feet. This is 60 square foot.
Anybody remember geometry? Want to have base times height?
Yes.
Minus that little cutout.
I was told it'd be here.
We really don't want the lawyer to crunch the numbers on this.
Jamie, I think they counted the space outside the A.
Yes. they-
Right.
We're trying to figure out.
You have a
what the
wedge
line
there.
Look, like if I did the L, you just L straight down and then over to, that's like 7 foot wide, just roughly speaking. And then along the bottom where the gold roller is, I'd say that's like, it's less than 8, so say 7. 7 times 7 is 49. We're way below the 64 that's allowed. And
Zach, I'm wondering like if,
Well, my next question is, does that count then?
yeah, because you have to box it into a geometric shape to make it easy to do the math.
Got it. Got it.
yeah, that's what they do the box.
Right.
See, I'm not even counting this part of it.
Right.
But,
If you had that out, you think it's close to 60?
yeah, oh, I think it's 7. This is 7, this is less than 8, so it's like 7 by 7.
I'm gonna, if you guys are gonna make comments, just say it loud, so the entire, commission can hear, so the full reporter can get it down.
To summarize that aside, and Michael, let you speak for yourself, but it seems like the sign minus that cutout empty space is within the contemplated area of the code.
So are we willing to go ahead and vote on it based on the fact that it appears to be less than the required square footage?
I think that addresses. my
I
concern.
think I would. Okay, any other questions?
No.
Okay, do I have a motion for finding fact on this?
I can make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to adopt as the findings of facts, the summary offered by staff and the acceptance of the square footage adjustment that we summarized, that the statements by the applicants and the extent of this variance request are consistent with that summary.
Okay, is there a second?
I'd like to second the motion.
Okay, this is all with the conditions as stated. All in favor, use the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. I now have a motion for passage of this application based on finding fact.
I'll make the motion to pass the requested variances.
Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Can we call the roll?
Mr. Gary,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Cooperman,
No.
Mr. Boyd,
Yes.
Ms. Augustine,
Yes.
Mr. Bender,
Yes.
Mayor Thompson.
Yes. As it is approved, sir. Thank you. Our next case is GC 22-004, 8350 Lyra Drive with the applicant police report. Dan, first of all, you know, God,
I do.
if you name for the record and affiliation for this case.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, my name is Michael T. Shannon. I'm an attorney on behalf of the applicant, Carbone.
Thank you. Mr. Freeze, yes, please.
Okay, 8350 Lyra Drive is located at the terminus of Lyra Drive, approximately 1,500 feet south of Blair's Parkway. Site is on the CPD Commercial Plan Development District and is within the Far North Columbus Communities Coalition. Site will be developed with a Carvana, 75-foot tall building containing an automobile dealership. Surrounding uses include I-21 to the east, a hotel to the north, single unit residential to the west and south. The app proposes 8 total graphics, 3 channel letters, 4 logo cabinets, and 1 blade sign for a total graphic area of 265.4 square feet. There are 4 graphics on the front and north facade, 1 channel letter sign, 2 logo cabinets, 1 blade sign for a total of 110.58 square feet graphic area. There are 3 graphics on the rear south facade, 1 channel letter, 2 logo cabinets for a total of 101.58 square feet graphic area. And there's 1 graphic on the side facade, which is a channel letter sign for a total of 53.24 square feet graphic area. The far north area plan states that wall signs should be compatible in size and scale of the building and not interfere with architectural lines or detail. Therefore, planning supports the request as the proposed signage is of appropriate size and scale in relation to the building. The Division of Traffic Management has no comments. The Far North Columbus Communities Coalition recommends approval. City staff can recommend approval as the proposed signage is of appropriate size and scale in relation to the building and does not interfere with architectural lines or detail as required by the Far North area plan. We are asking for a condition that the elevation drawing depicting the sign locations will be stamped. Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Shannon, would you like to present the rest of the case?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, and welcome to our newest member. So there's no question here that my client needs a hardship. That hardship is that I'm an attorney. But beyond that, I do think this is a classic case of a hardship. And Jamie, if you wouldn't mind going to the site plan that shows the site outlined in aqua that you had previously, please.
I have more detailed signage that you have in your packets and in color if you want to see those. These are just kind of the general pictures.
The one that showed its orientation to the freeway, and there we go. Thank you very much. So this is a former Magic Mountain Fun Center, and not only is it a peculiar shaped lot, triangular in nature, it has the distinction of having no street frontage. The only street frontage it has is where Lyra Drive actually terminates into the site. There's about 30 or 35 foot of frontage there. So as a consequence, the code contemplates street frontages when you're trying to comply with the letter of the code. And for this reason, this condition runs with the property, and we feel it's a significant hardship. Also, as a matter of fact, the Carvana building is unto itself almost a graphic, if you will. The architecture is so unique to the Carvana Tower and that it's an essential component of these Wayfinder eye candy for the Carvana business to have this graphics package. We did go through for 6 months of review this graphics package and all the architecture with the Polaris Design Review Board. We started that in August and just finished it up, I want to say February, March, in time to get on the Far North Community Council Coalition's agenda. We had 3 separate meetings with them. 2 of them were related to the rezoning. And I do think it's interesting to note that I'm in my 40th year of practice. Still haven't gotten it right after 40 years. But one of the things I was most proud of is that during my time here as administrator, my name is actually on this Polaris ordinance from the original 2,000 acre rezoning. And at that time, as well as this time, 40 years later, there's an absolute prohibition or restriction against the sale of used cars or new cars at Polaris. However, the principals at Polaris, namely Messrs. Weiler and Kelly, made a determination that the Carvana was really an e-commerce fulfillment center. None of the cars that you see, like a typical auto sales facility in the lot, would actually be for sale. The only cars that would be for sale would be those where customers are picking them up from the elaborate vending machine. So it took a lot of scrutiny on behalf of the design review board to get us where we are this evening. If you want to get granular and walk through each particular variance, I can do that. But I can say unabashedly that there is a significant hardship based on the triangular location, the lack of real street frontage, if you will, it being concomitant with the 35-foot access point. And obviously, the building itself, its architecture is designed in such a way that, it's a graphic unto itself, I think would be one way to put it. And I'd be happy to answer any specific questions. And Jamie, I may need your help if it gets too technical. Despite having read this graphic codes many times, sometimes it still was like stereo instructions to me. So with that, I respectfully ask if there are any questions that I can address. And we did have a 6-1 vote. The one person who voted no at the Civic Association stuck to his guns. I admire it. He felt that if you had knowledge of the condition of the site, that would take away a hardship argument. Legally, I think there's, as council can attest to, there's many more things to look at as to whether or not a sophisticated buyer like Carvana took the site with knowledge that there would be hardships in complying with the graphics code. There's a litany of other things that you need to apply to it. And we think we passed muster in that regard. A unique situation with a unique.
Thank you, Sam. Does this site sit below the freeway?
It does. There's a elevation change. Can't tell you exactly how much, but it does sit below. So the trees that are, there will be screening and buffering. There's a limited amount of cars on the lot by comparison, but they will not be visible if you drive by at the eye level.
Any questions? Okay, then is there anyone who make a motion for approval of this finding fact?
Do that again, Mike. I'd like to make a motion to adopt as the finding of facts the summary offered by staff, as well as the statement by the applicant, which summarized the hardships of three in particular, the Lyra Drive termination into that lot. So there's no road frontage to calculate signage from, the unique tower design and function of it, and then the irregular lot configuration as it orients to the freeway and whatever. And that I think that this is consistent in the summary that has been presented.
Is there a second?
I'd like to second.
Favor, you sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Yes, have it. We now have a motion for passage based on the finding fact.
I'll make a motion to pass the requested variance based upon the finding of fact.
Second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, call the roll.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Cooperman,
Yes.
Mr. Boyd,
Yes.
Ms. Augustine,
Yes.
Mr. Bender,
Yes.
Mr. Perry,
Yes.
Carrie Thompson.
Yes, and it's approved. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Chairman.
you very much.
Is there any other business, Mr. Brady?
No, those were my cases. Again, welcome to Augustine and
Welcome. Glad to have you.
Welcome to Brady.
There's no other business.
Welcome.
Good job.
Make